Okay, nerds. I got to show it because, you know, it is what it is, and I don't sell a whole lot of merch, so I got to plug it as much as I can. So here, wearing it again. I love this shirt. Like, seriously, it's a super comfy shirt. I'm very seriously considering making a little commercial for my Teespring shirts because these things rock. And I just love the design. Anyway, we have a short-ish news show. I mean, I say that and then I end up rambling like I'm doing now, and things happen and stuff and junk. So, yeah, we're talking... I have a really cool update in music. There is some stuff to talk about. Very interesting stuff dealing with Netflix in television. I mean, movies, everything's getting moved around again. We have one gaming update. We have 0 comic books this episode. And we have a fair amount of rumors. So, without any more ado... Housekeeping. I mean, I would say that you can anticipate seeing movie reviews start back up. I don't know when I'm going to be able to do that right now. I got stuff on my glasses. I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry. It was super distracting. So, yeah, housekeeping is stay tuned for more updates. Yeah, that's really it. Now let's talk music. I dig and dig and dig on the music stuff. And there's always something going on. Like we had our first official during quasi-lockdown concert just happened. I can't remember because I didn't write it in the notes because it was like, it's a concert and they're kind of idiots for going, but it sounds like it was outside and at least part of it was during the day. So like that's theoretically much safer than inside and at night. So it is what it is. But yeah, I really dig and dig and dig on the music stuff, and it's really rough coming up with stuff that's actually newsworthy. Like, I don't care about a band that's feuding with itself. I don't want to hear about a band's political opinion. I want to know they're working on a new record. They have a new single. These two guys who are in these two other bands decided they want to make music together. Something along those lines. That's newsworthy. That's something that we can talk about. Then we can analyze the actual music that comes from these things. So speaking of these two guys are in these other bands and they want to make music together, this is kind of that. Jared Dines, for those of you that don't know that name, go look him up on the YouTubes. Jared Dines is a music YouTuber. Dude's a hell of a player. He has a band of his own. He actually has, I think, a couple of bands. One of them is named Dad Rock, and I love that name. I can't remember the name of his main band for whatever reason, but whatever. It's a metal band. Dude's a hell of a player. He is also a big goofball. So, I mean, he's got really funny content on his YouTube channel. Why are we talking about a YouTuber in the music section? Well, Jared Dines just announced that he did 7 tracks with Howard Jones. That's right. Current Light the Torch and former Killswitch Engage vocalist Howard Jones. Also, Blood Has Been Shed Howard Jones. That is all the same guy. They recorded 7 songs, and according to Dines, it sounds like Killswitch era or Howard Jones era Killswitch, which is kind of awesome. End of Heartache is probably the best record they've ever put out. They have put out seminal music, amazing albums. I don't think they're ever going to break or they're going to beat End of Heartache. That being said, this is part of what sounds like it's part of a compilation that Dines has been working on for approximately 2 years. He has a couple of tracks that he did with Matt Heafy from Trivium, and that was the only real collaborations that I could find for this, but it sounds like now that he has these 7 tracks with Howard Jones, it sounds like this is actually going to see the light of day soon. No announcement as to when that window might be just yet, but I'm definitely going to be keeping tabs on this because this is something that definitely deserves all of the monies. So please, Jared, release this soon. But that's all I got for music, guys. Now we are getting into the TV streaming. We have two pieces in TV streaming. First up is The Witcher. Season 2 got announced, it got announced as going back into production. So the other half, I believe, of Season 2 that they haven't done anything for, they will go back into production officially on August 17th. Though with the last couple days / week or so, that very possibly might change because everything is starting to close back down again. Sad to say, but that does seem to be the growing trend. I was hoping we were going more on the other direction, but I mean, you want to stay safe, right? So potentially, like, we're going to pencil this in on the calendars. Don't etch it in stone, but August 17th is the new production date for The Witcher Season 2. And speaking of Henry Cavill and his Netflix presence, we have an interesting thing about Enola Holmes. So I saw this, I believe, last week, and I just didn't look into it, especially considering last Friday's show was crazy long. So this is interesting in that I didn't know that the Enola Holmes stuff was not written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I thought it was Holmes, so it was all part of his umbrella. But apparently no, because Netflix is being sued. Legendary Pictures, who's producing the movie, is being sued. Nancy Springer is being sued, and Random House Book Publishing is being sued. So why would Nancy Springer is the author that wrote the Enola Holmes books, and Random House is the book publisher that she goes through. So that's why they're all being sued. So what's happening is 90% of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's works, specifically 90% of the Sherlock Holmes works, is public domain. It's that last 10% that is where the issue lies. So the bits that are public domain are the bits that we know of Sherlock Holmes. He's kind of a jerk to everyone around him, and he's very aloof, and he's highly intelligent, blah, 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 and he doesn't really take into consideration other people's feelings, so he's kind of on the spectrum. So that is what is public domain. The problem, again, is that last 10%, because in that last 10%, he becomes a much more caring and loving Sherlock Holmes. And so that character development, the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle estate is saying that the Enola Holmes books, or book, I don't know if it's multiple or not, but the Enola Holmes writing that was done by, where's her name again? Nancy Springer, is too similar to that last 10%. So people, but intellectual property rights, right? So I have the right to hold on to my intellectual property until so many years after my death, or so many years after its creation, and then my subsequent death. I can't remember exactly how that works out, but it's a very long time either way, and it comes year by year by year as we get further away from the death of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. We get more public domain works that he wrote. So they're now suing, saying that the Sherlock Holmes, I thought when I first saw it, I thought that it was because this isn't a book that Conan Doyle wrote, and it's dealing with his character who is Enola Holmes. No, it's because of the way they portray Sherlock Holmes in these stories, and has nothing to do with Enola Holmes as far as I could see in any of the announcements. So very interesting little, like, very fine detail that is. So yeah, we'll see when this gets settled, because it sounds like it's very likely going to be settled soon-ish, because if they get sued by the estate, they probably can't release the series. I don't know. But it'll get finished, and we'll talk about it when that happens. Now let's talk about movies. We have just some movement going on, really. And we have one piece that isn't about movement, but we have most of it is about movement. So first off, we have Mulan. Mulan has been moved back from July 24th to August 21st. Seems that Mulan does not also want to compete with Tenet. Bill and Ted has been moved back to August 28th because, again, who wants to compete with Christopher Nolan? And then our actual news has to do with Pirates of the Caribbean. This is not an update on the reboot series that the fans are still trying to get Johnny Depp back in, but this does have to do with the announcement of a new movie in the franchise, but it's not a numbered movie. It's a side story that has nothing to do with the other movies. So this is very potentially, let me talk, well, I'll give you the news and then I'll give you my opinion. So the news is that the writer for this new movie is going to be Christina Hodson, who wrote Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. Also, I think she took a stab at Batgirl that never really went anywhere. And then it's going to be starring Margot Robbie. This is going to be an all-female main cast, so it's going to be another... okay. And then this is a standalone project that has nothing to do with the rest of the canon. So very likely we won't be seeing surprise cameos from people who are in the other, 6 movies now. This sounds like Disney is testing the waters to see what they can do without having Johnny Depp in these movies, because even though it does look like he's going to win his suit against Amber Heard, who is his ex-wife at this point, it does seem that the things are going in his direction these days. I don't know if you can hear that. That was thunder. It's still like they want to try and maximize their profits and have as little controversy associated with their works as possible. So if they can do a successful movie without having the star of the other 6 movies in it, then why wouldn't they turn this into a series as well? So very interesting. We will definitely be keeping tabs on this as things actually progress. Right now, it doesn't sound like they're going to go into production. They're going to do all the other things, and we're not going to talk about that. But once we get to like how well it does and how well it's anticipated to do and so on and so forth, we will definitely be talking about that. But that is movies, guys. Now let's talk gaming and tech. And we actually only have one thing in gaming, but it's another really awesome piece of it. So we talked previously about the ADHD, I guess, prescription game a couple episodes ago. And now we are talking about video games as education, which there have been educational video games for a long, long time, but they're not technically part of the curriculum anywhere. They're just things that help you maintain brain elasticity and so on and so forth. Or even like early development video games are really just stuff that kids can do at home or like when they have free time at school and that kind of stuff. This is something that is actually going to be a part of the curriculum for high school students in Poland. So if you are in Poland, then freaking awesome. The name of the game is This War of Mine. It's an action adventure like side scroller thing. It's got some pretty hardcore RPG elements. It's a wartime game, and the interesting part about that is that it is not you are not a soldier in this game. You are a civilian in this game. So it deals very heavily in sociology, history, philosophy, and ethics. It is being produced by 11-Bit Studios. I believe it is only on Steam, but I could be wrong. There might be physical copies of it. I don't know if it is stateside, so you're going to have to just look it up on YouTube and see what all the hype is about. Though it is in English, so maybe it is stateside. If it's on Steam, it's definitely stateside. I didn't see that bit because that's not super relevant to the story, but really freaking awesome. Another step in making video gaming just an acceptable part of life, not something that people see as a time suck or waste even. So that's pretty awesome. Like I said, we have nothing in comic books and books. So now let's talk rumors. So first off, Do I have it? Kind of, sort of. We'll get there. Never mind. Not first off. We're just going to go right into Star Wars, and we have a very interesting, only comes from one source, so it's not as verifiable as other rumors we like to talk about on the show, but we do have a very interesting rumor dealing with the current, the most recent 3 canon movies, the most recent 3 saga movies. That's the word I was looking for. So the divisiveness of those 3 movies, mainly the second and to a slightly lesser degree the third, the divisiveness of those movies and subsequently the trilogy as a whole amongst the fan base has created a little bit of rift, according to this rumor, a little bit of a rift in Lucasfilm. You have Kathleen Kennedy, presumably on one side, and then Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni on the other side. Again, all rumored. This is not verifiable. Nobody's come out and made this 100% fact, but it sounds like Filoni and Favreau are getting their way, and Kathleen Kennedy is not super happy about it. So Favreau and Filoni are going to exploit something that Filoni put in the Clone Wars season 4. I believe it was the 13th episode of season 4. They talk about the Veil of the Force. And effectively, this is like a nexus in which you can access the Star Wars multiverse. So in season 4 of Clone Wars, they created a Star Wars multiverse. And we haven't really seen a whole lot come of that just yet. But if this rumor is to be believed, then we technically have seen a whole lot come from that, because these 3 movies, the 3 Disney Star Wars movies, take place in a completely different timeline than the Lucas Star Wars movies and the other 6 that we got. So, what the rumor is then going on to say is not only are they going to make this out to be a different universe, but going forward with the High Republic, it's going to not be in the same universe as these Disney movies. So they're going to completely abandon the Disney universe and go back to, again, presumably, back to the George Lucas universe. And as it is, it will remain untouched. So it sounds like a lot of wibbly wobbly nonsense that really is fans grasping at straws. That's kind of my take on this. But, I mean, it would be kind of cool, right? I don't know. I know there were a lot of people that really loved those 3 movies. I was a big fan of the third and the first one, but not so much the second. I mean, the second one wasn't bad. Anyway, we're not getting into that. That's what we have there. That's just really freaking fun and interesting. Next, we're moving over to DC, and we're talking about Batwoman. There are more rumors now that say that we're going to be seeing Batman in season 2, and now they're getting specific with the timing that we're going to be seeing Batman. Not super specific, but they say now the end of the season, according to this rumor, is when we're going to be seeing the Dark Knight in Batwoman. And the reason he's going to be coming back, which kind of is a cool way to incorporate all of the things that are going on meta style, the reason he's going to be coming back, according to this rumor, is so that he can figure out what happened to his cousin, Kate Kane. So that's cool. And then also he's going to oversee, I can't even remember the character that they made up's name, but he's going to be an advisor to her to some capacity. So could be interesting. It sounds like they're really trying to make this solid. I don't think it's going to happen if this rumor is to be believed. And honestly, this definitely lines up with a lot of the things we've been hearing about Batwoman season 2. So if this rumor is to be believed, then it's kind of a weak implementation of Bruce Wayne Batman, and it's also kind of not enough of the Bat for us to really be involved with this series. He has to. If they set it up properly for season 3, then I think they'll have something good here. I just think you're going to have to really sell hard in whatever episodes he's in. And then we're not leaving Batwoman just yet. There is another rumor that comes from some less than reliable sources, so I don't know how true this one is, but there is another rumor that Edward Nygma is going to find his way into season 2 as well. So if we are starting to set up the Batman's Rogues Gallery, There are rogues for each of the Bat family, kind of. The upper-ups in the Bat family, in the hierarchy of the Bat family, if you will, so like Nightwing and so on and so forth, Nightwing, Batwoman, Batgirl, they have their own rogues. Red Hood has his own. So they're setting up the rogues gallery for Batman. Why don't we just get a freaking Batman series? But they've tried that, and people want to take too much artistic license. I don't know. So yeah, very interesting. I don't think the Nigma thing's necessarily true, but I definitely think that we're going to be seeing Bruce Wayne Batman in season 2. That's all but 100% going to happen. And then it also seems likely that probably the second half of the season would make sense that we see him sometime there. I don't know about the last bit. What did I write? Towards the end is the exact quote. I don't know how towards the end, but I feel like the second half would make sense. So that's all we have there. And then I don't have this one in the notes because I actually just got it from a second source, a much more reliable source, right before I went to filming. So I didn't have it in the notes, so I got to kind of freehand this one. But we do have some weird rumors going around. So we've talked about Michael Keaton potentially coming back and potentially being some kind of, I think the name that they keep throwing around is Nick Fury. So Nick Fury for the MCU, they want to make an older version of Batman for the DCEU. Notice I said an older version of Batman because the Michael Keaton stuff has not finished. They haven't signed the contract yet. So they're putting into place some B strategies and C strategies. So reportedly, the B strategy, if Michael Keaton doesn't sign, is they want one of the other more recent Batman, the elder statesman Batman, if you will, to be this father-like figure to the rest of the DCEU, specifically Batgirl, and presumably to some extent maybe Robert Pattinson's Batman as well. So the name that they're looking at, according to this rumor, is they're looking at Christian Bale as being this elder statesman Batman from a different universe. The rumor says that Ben Affleck is not being looked at because they say that he doesn't look the part anymore. I don't know how much of that I believe. Like, I saw Kevin Smith's, Jay and Silent Bob reboot, and he's still pretty big. Like, he might not be as cut up as he once was, but it's not going to take much to get that beast of a man to be huge again. And also, you can age him up pretty easily because he definitely looks younger than he actually is. But again, you can make things happen, man. We got Hollywood magic. So that's the one part. But then the other part of this is I don't think they can get Christian Bale for this either because of the same reason I don't think they're going to get The Rock in the MCU. Because Bale is, I'm pretty sure we've confirmed this at this point 100%. He is going to be doing something in the MCU. So he is a contract player right now for the MCU. Don't know how long that contract is, so it might be just a movie, so maybe I could be off base by this, but just because we don't know those details doesn't mean we can't speculate, and there's reason to believe, because everyone else who signs with the MCU signs for multiple movies, but there's reason to believe Bale is tied up with the MCU for the next few years. So I don't think this one holds a lot of water. I feel like if it's not Michael Keaton and they really want to get that the alternate dimension Batman in there, the alternate world Batman, then Ben Affleck is going to be their best shot for that because he is part of the Snyderverse. He is the Batman for Zack Snyder. So why would he not be this? It would make so much more sense canonically, but it's a rumor, so we don't know. So we're moving on. So next, we're talking about Altered Carbon. There is a rumor, this is a quickie, that we're going to be seeing 5 seasons of this show on Netflix. That is the rumored plan for the show. I can't speak to this one. It does seem that by and large, they try and keep things right about 3 seasons. We see a lot of cancellations or not picking things up past season 3, but Stranger Things is a thing, and we're going into season 4. And very potentially all the way up through 6 and 7. I think, wasn't it the Duffers said something about 9 seasons planned or something like that? So very potentially that this could have a little bit of legs, though I don't think Altered Carbon is popular enough to justify going beyond a third season, though I do think we will get a third season. And then our final bit of rumor has to do back over with DC. We're talking Superman and Lois. So we're going to be seeing another Lex Luthor in the Berlantiverse. This Lex Luthor, though, is rumored to be played by Wale Parks, who is, I think this part has been confirmed, he is playing the Stranger in the first season of Superman and Lois. But the Stranger in this version is reportedly going to be an alternate dimension Lex Luthor, so this will be the first time we get a black Lex Luthor on television. And I don't have any reason to believe this, but I also don't have any reason not to believe this. Matter of fact, if you go by social narratives, then it seems a little bit more likely that we're going to see a race-swapped version of a character, especially if it's one that they can justify somehow through the comics. And not being super well-versed with who the Stranger is in comics, I can't say if this is also how it happened in the books. Please, somebody in the comment section, let me know that. But I can definitely say that this fits with the cultural narrative right now, so it makes sense. I kind of actually want to see this happen, so there is that, but that is what we have for rumors. And that's also what we have for TV, or for the whole episode, not just, certain sections. The episode's done. So what did I miss, guys? What should we talk about in the next one? Let me know in the comments down below. If, though, you want to go deeper into the conversation, jump over to the website at generallynerdy.net. That is the place that you can get all the freebies and see all of the other written things that I've done for free. There is a paywall. If you want to go behind that, you can do so for just $1. You get some pretty cool perks for $1 a month. And there's obviously upper tiers, because that's how Patreon works, so go check that out, patreon.com/generallynerdy. That also, right about now, you're seeing 2 boxes below my face. Click or tap one of those 2 to keep up with your nerd news or to see other things going on the channel. And then that's what we got, guys. Thank you very much, nerds, for joining me. Before we head out, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.